So, good morning friends. Today we are going to start our module B of our CIB Central Banking series. Module B is more about RBI Act, its function, compositions, everything we will discuss. We will start from the RBI Act. So, as subject is our central banking, so RBI Act is definitely important. So we will start RBI Act 1934, salient features and some comments. So we will start from here. See, an account of the principal feature of Reserve Bank of India Act should be our interest only. So in this act, this is an act to constitute Reserve Bank of India. Under this act only RBI has been established. So first point is the act consists of 61 sections and 5 schedules. So this point is somewhat important. The act consists of 61 sections and 5 schedules. This you remember, because out of the 61 sections, these many are repealed and something. I don't think so these are important. You just remember. Now syllabus also change, pattern also change. But our central banking CIB series definitely will sustain negative marking also. Our channel name is 50 plus. I kept it before the syllabus has been changed. We are not unaware of the what could be the changes will be there in the syllabus of IIBF. They are introduced now negative marking also. But I will tell you friends, our central banking CIB optional series will sustain this negative marking also, and you will score 50 plus. That is my promise to you. So I will move to act only. So I want to tell you that because now negative marking is there, your study is required more precise and you should remember some objective fact. So in RBI Act, what can we do? We need to remember some things that is required only, because we cannot change this act. This act is like static. Some facts we have to remember. So this first point is important. The act consisted of 61 sections and 5 schedules. After this, there are chapters are there in this act. You just need to remember which chapter defines what things. So like chapter 1, in that section 1 and 2 is there. No need to remember these things. Section 1 and 2 means if you want, if you can remember, keep it. Otherwise, okay, just remember that what is chapter 1 is all about. Chapter 1 defines preliminary. It deals with the short title, extent and commencement of the act. This is only important. So always chapter 1 will be always the introduction. It will be introduction of our short title, extent and when this act form and like that many things will be there in chapter 1. So chapter 2 deals with the establishment and the incorporation of the Reserve Bank, then capital of the bank, management, that is composition of the bank, then central board, local board, the business that bank can do and the business that bank cannot do, like that mentioned in chapter number 2. So overall chapter number 2 is what? It is regarding establishment and more about composition and management of the RBI. Chapter 3, this chapter deals with the central banking functions. So this is important. I find this is important because it is specifically talking about central banking functions. So they can ask one-liner question that which chapter will specifically talk about the central banking function. So it is chapter number 3, and you will also in this chapter there were 3 core function of the central bank. 3 core function of the central bank, that is I will discuss in our slide, that is banker to bank, currency issue and banker to government. These were the 3 core function of the RBI. Then later on foreign exchange management and some other were definitely were there. but these three were core function of the RBI, and that was mentioned in the RBI Act only. So like that you can remember there was three core function, and that was mentioned in chapter number 3. So like this you can remember chapter number 3 deals with the functions of the central bank. Then chapter number 3A, in this chapter deals with the collection and furnishing of the credit information. Credit information, like that civil reports we will say, like that it is only. In this chapter number 3A deals with the credit information. Then chapter number 3B, this chapter deals with the provision related to non-banking institution receiving deposit in financial institution. Like this is there. So chapter number 3B you can remember, it is regarding NBFC. Chapter number 3A deals with the credit information. Then chapter number 3C, chapter number 3, this chapter relates to the prohibition of acceptance of the deposit by unincorporated bodies. Those are prohibited from taking deposit. It is talking about that one. I am not this much not important, but just you can just remember that chapter number 3 with the credit information. Chapter number 3B deals with the NBFC. Okay. Then chapter number 4. Chapter number 4 is all talking about the see here, reserve fund. Then national rural credit. This is also fund only. Then national rural credit stabilization fund, industrial credit fund, national housing credit fund. These are all kinds of fund only. So chapter number 4 deals with the fund. You can just write in your notes chapter number 4, in front of it funds. So like that you can remember. Chapter number 5th deals with the penalties. This chapter deals with the penalty in case of non-compliance with the regulations. Those banks will not comply with the RBI regulation, RBI will definitely penalize them, and this chapter deals with the penalty, chapter number 5th. So like these are there. If overall, if you have to summarize it, means I will tell chapter number 3 is more important. Chapter number 3 deals with the central banking functions. Okay, you just glance through it and remember this one, chapter number 3, because there were the 3 core functions which was mentioned in the statute of the RBI. So like that 3 function, chapter number 3 deals with the central banking function, you can remember. So next point is here, first and second schedule. So what is in this act only it is mentioned. I think here it is mentioned there are 5 schedules. We are written here. It is written here. The act consists of 61 sections and 5 schedules. Out of that 5 schedules, what about first schedule? First schedule deals with the, here it is written western area, eastern area, northern area, southern area. So what is all about means RBI functions. I will tell that means one kind of composition you will say that RBI is divided into 4 regions. That in that 4 regions, local boards will be there and one central board. See, in northern region, one local board will be there. Southern region, one local board will be there. That is to represent that area. Southern board will represent the South India, northern North India, western board Western India, eastern India. Like that 4 boards will be there, and local board will be constituted to represent that area. And above this local board, central board will be there. We will see down here, it is written central board and all everything. So it is all about first schedule. Second schedule consists of the all scheduled commercial banks. In that, state cooperative bank, nationalized bank, private bank, foreign banks, all banks deals with the second schedule. Section means this for section 42 is important. This all deals with the second schedule, and with all names of the scheduled banks, that is all kinds of banks, it is written here. So principal features of the RBI Act. The bank was constituted for the purpose of taking over the management of currency from central government and carrying out on the business of banking in accordance with the provisions of this act. So principal feature what was there? It was a taking over the management of currency, because currency earlier I have discussed that currency functioning that was with the government, central government. But later on this function has been given to RBI because of the conflict, because government main role was the implementation of fiscal policy. If they will keep this currency management with them or issuance with them, means definitely it will create a conflict or the functioning. They will act as a government for the socio-economic development, or they will handle the monetary functions. So that's why this function of currency management that was taken out from central government, and many committee like Hilton and Commission also, and so many committees also recommended that this function should be taken out from the government, should be handed over to some specialized agency like RBI. So under this principle act, RBI Act, RBI was formed, and this function of currency management and business of banking, that was given to RBI, that is banking supervision and all. This function was given under this act to RBI. Second point, central government from time to time give such a direction to the bank after consultation with the governor of the bank as it may consider necessary in the public interest. Definitely, see, under this act, cooperation between RBI and central government is required. Central government always in the consultation with the central board, like governor and other members, always they will consult and they will take a decision on that. See, in that, I told you above local board there will be one central board, and what will be the composition of the central board? Governor, and deputy governor to be appointed by the central government. The deputy governor, how many will be there? 4. Then 4 directors to be nominated by the central government, 10 directors to be nominated by the central government, 1 government official to be nominated by the central government. So central board shall consist of these many people. You have to remember, or just keep in mind, just 1 governor, 4 deputy governor, 4 director, 10 director, then 1 government official nominated by the central government. Then I talk about local board. Like for each region, I told you one local board will be there. See, that local board member will be appointed by the central government, and these members, 5 members will be appointed on the local board, and out of these 5 members they will choose one chairman among them. Through election they will choose. So here it is written, local board shall be considered each of the 4 areas, that 4 areas I have mentioned in first schedule, that is mentioned, and shall consist of 5 members to be appointed by the central government to represent as far as possible. Okay, these these boards are formed just to represent the territorial and economic interests of that region, and they will report to central board. Central board consists of these many people. Then members of the local board shall elect from among themselves 1 person to be the chairman of the board. I told 5 members will be there in local board, out of them 1 will be chairman appointed by themselves only. Every member of the local board shall hold office for a term of 4 years, and thereafter, until his successor shall have been appointed, shall be eligible for reappointment. Local board shall advise central board on such matters as may be generally or specifically referred to it. So local board will advise to central board. See here, central government may remove from office the governor or deputy governor or any other director or any member of the local board. That power lies with the central government. They can remove governor or deputy governor also. Then meeting of the central board shall be convened by the governor at least 6 times in each year and at least once in each quarter. So in 1 year you have to take 6 times meeting. So 6 meetings will be there in 1 year, at least once in each quarter. I don't find any logic in that actually. Logic in the sense that they are telling 6 times in each year means definitely 1 quarter will having 1 more meeting, means 2 meetings will be, 1 quarter will have at least 2 quarter will have 2 meetings. Then only at least 6 meeting will be covered. So next point, you have to remember this one, the meeting of central board at least 6 times in each year, that should be conducted. Then if in the opinion of central government, bank fails to carry out any obligation imposed on it by the act, means if central government give responsibility to central board, if central board failed in its implementation or functioning or whatever suggestion given by the central government, if central government thinks that they are not performing their function properly, then they will dissolve the central board and they will hand over this specialized function of the central board to any specialized agency constituted by the central government. That is only explained in this last paragraph. So next point here. So whenever such kind of action will be taken, means if they are removing central board in a way, then at that time central government has to give reason for that action and that report has to be placed before the parliament. That is only this one is telling. Then Reserve Bank is the sole authority for the issue of currency. Under this act, only 1 rupee notes or 1 rupee coin and other coins, means 1 rupee notes and other coins are minted by the government of India, and currency other than this will be minted by the RBI. This is under section 22. You remember this section is important. Section under section 22, under which section they will ask that RBI has been given power or authority for the issue of currency. It is under section number 22. This is important. Okay. So if it is given to RBI for the issuance of currency, then definitely under RBI some department will be there who will issue this currency. So under RBI issue department is there that will issue currency. So directly this department will not issue currency. Definitely there should be some backing for issuing of currency. So backing definitely will be there. Here you can see gold coin, gold bullion, foreign securities, rupee coins and rupee security. These will be act as a backing for the printing of currency. So for issue department there will be two things, assets and liability. On liability side, what is the currency in circulation or currency reserve with the government of India, or we'll say central government, that will be on the liability side. On the asset side, this bullion, gold coins, foreign security, rupee coins or rupee security, that will be with the issue department. So against this they will print money. So it should get balance, assets and liabilities should get balance. So here you can see liability of the issue department shall be an amount equal to the total amount of currency notes of the government of India and bank notes for the time being in circulation. That should be equal. Then only we will say on the backing of this gold coin, gold bullion, equal amount of currency has been printed by the issue department. Then see, in this point every bank included in the second schedule, I will explain you what is written in this whole paragraph. I will explain you. So if you want to read, you can read it here. Every bank which is included in the second schedule shall maintain with the bank an average daily balance, amount of which shall not be less than, here 3% it is written, but now it is 4%. This is old version, I think, book, of the total demand and time liability in India of such a bank as shown in the written referred to subsection 2, section 42A. So they are all talking about the CRR actually. See, for this purpose I will explain this paragraph, then only will understand, because language is somewhat difficult. If you read this language, everybody will not understand. So I will explain first what is written in this paragraph. It is simply written that you can consider bank. So bank has to maintain a certain portion of their net demand and time liabilities with the RBI. That is called what they are called. It is written average daily balance. So average daily balance means they are talking about fortnight. One concept is there. Fortnight means from Saturday to the second Saturday, they will consider that period, and within that period what will be the closing figure of the bank, what will be the closing figure of the bank, and they will take average of that, and that average should be maintained with the RBI. Now see what is net demand and time liabilities. That is that what are the deposit maintained with the bank by the public, and that fixed deposit, that will be time liabilities, and these are the liabilities. So out of these liabilities we will subtract what liabilities? We will subtract the refinance from the regulatory institutions. They have given in the here. You can read. Liability shall not include means whatever portion, how much we are keeping with the RBI, 4% of this net demand time liability. But this time liability and will exclude some liabilities. That liability shall not include the paid up capital or reserve or any credit balance in the profit and loss account of the bank, amount of any loan taken from the bank or from the development bank or Exim Bank or NABARD, or these all refinance agencies. Means whatever loan if bank has taken from the refinance agency, that will be then paid up capital and then paid up capital profit, that will be excluded from the net demand and time liabilities, and after subtracting that whatever remaining will be there, 4% of that will be kept with the RBI in terms of CRR. That is only the concept which is mentioned under section 42(1). But sometimes what will happen, some bank will not be in position to maintain that much amount of CRR with the RBI. For example, let's say 100 crore as an CRR that bank need to maintain with the RBI, but bank failed to maintain 100 crore, they only kept 90 crore, so 10 crore will be short. So RBI will penalize for that 10 crore amount. The penalized rate will be the bank rate and something whatever mentioned in the act, bank rate plus 3% or 5% penalty, like that they will penalize that bank. If next time also same thing happens, means they will fail successively, they fail to maintain CRR with the RBI, again RBI will penalize them. So this is, I talk about the penalty in which chapter it is mentioned. So you have to remember the chapter name. I think it is chapter 6th or 5th. Oh, it is chapter number 5th. Chapter number 5th deals with the penalties. So whatever just now I explained to you, that is only mentioned. That is only mentioned in this full paragraph. So this language is somewhat difficult, that's why I explain you like that. So you have to remember what I am telling, that only you have to remember. Fortnight concept here you see, fortnights, see one here. For the purpose of this act, average daily balance shall mean average of the balances held at the closing of the business on each day of the fortnight. Fortnight means period from Saturday to second following Friday, both days inclusive, means Saturday to Saturday only. Then next point will be here. These two I don't think so that much important. Then here, bank shall contribute every year such a sums of money it may consider necessary feasible to the National Rural Credit Fund, National Credit Stabilization Fund, National Industrial Credit Fund, the National Housing Credit Fund. Means whenever RBI is getting access or profit, some portion of it they should keep in these funds. It is mentioned under this act. So government of India also contributing to this fund. So bank shall contribute every year. So RBI also need to contribute in this fund as it may consider necessary and feasible to do so, then only. Then next point, bank shall make public from time to time the standard rate at which it is prepared to buy or rediscount bill of exchange or other commercial paper eligible for the purchase under this act. So one standard act means it is talking about the bank rate only, that bank has to from time to time declare the bank rate, and under this bank rate they will prepare to buy or sell or rediscount the bill of exchange or promissory notes under this bank rate only. So what is meant by rediscounting? Rediscounting of bill of exchange and promissory notes means, say for example, one customer is there, he has given promissory note to bank and has taken the money from the, or he has borrowed money from the bank. So now in this case what bank will do, bank will not fully 100% will fund them under promissory note or bill of exchange. What bank will do, bank will only fund for, say bank will keep 25% margin, means only 75% of the fund they will give. For example, any customer want under bill of exchange 100 crore rupees, so bank will finance only 75 crore, 25 crore margin bank will keep. So this is called a discounting of the bill of exchange. But now what will happen next after the discounting? If bank needs liquidity, so bank will take this bill of exchange, will go to RBI, and what they will ask liquidity from the RBI against this bill of exchange. So in this case RBI will again discount to this bill of exchange. So it is called rediscounting, because here discounting has been done twice, means second time. I will tell, discounting has been done second times. So that is called rediscounting. Earlier it discounted by the bank, and the second time it is discounted by the RBI. Again the discounting, RBI will provide finance to bank at some rate, that is called bank rate or some other rate. We'll say bank rate only. So this is called concept of rediscounting. This is just to manage the short term liquidity mismatches. RBI will help these commercial banks for providing short term liquidity in by doing this rediscounting of the bill of exchange promissory notes. So now here this point is what, bank shall prepare, transmit to the central government a weekly account of the issue department and of the banking department in such a form as the central government may by notification shall cause these accounts to be published in the Gazette of India at such an interval in such a modified form. So RBI is having issue department, banking departments. What RBI has to do? RBI has to prepare that one closing annual report they have to prepare